ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our late night special. Yes, I know it's a bit late for a match reaction, especially a live match reaction. However, there's not much you can do when you're working till 11 o'clock on a Monday night. I don't like these Monday night fixtures, McGinley, because there's not much I can do about it to try and get the shift off.
Two wins in a row, mate, on Monday nights.
2 wins in a row. Yeah, exactly. So, do you know what? Maybe I just need to get out of Tesco quicker than where I'm at right now. So I managed to catch the whole game. We're here anyway, and I've brought Ryan McGinley along with me just so that there's two of us on this late night stream. So thank you to everybody who is tuning in live at this hour. I know you'll probably be choking to get to your bed and wake up tomorrow bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but you've got us for a wee bit longer just to chat away about the game. Talking about bushy tails, it's a bushy haircut for you, Ryan McGinley. I seen that the Rangers fans were getting you it tight yesterday, bro.
They were, mate, but I didn't see any of it because I muted the tweet.
Well done, son.
I did the equivalent of planting the bomb, then running away.
Search and destroy style. Very good, very good. It's nice to have you along here. So I'm just going to open it up straight away by saying I thought that was a brilliant game of football tonight.
Yeah, I thought, given the circumstances, because the pitch was really, really shitty. So I thought we done really well to play on it, given the conditions that were forced upon us. But yeah, we played really, really well. I thought that was going to be a really difficult game, but we made it a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. The midfield really worked well. I thought McGregor was outstanding. 3 goals. Giakoumakis can't stop scoring at the moment, regardless of how scrappy his goals are. But we've needed a striker that can score scrappy goals, and
yeah,
I'm absolutely delighted for him.
You've touched on a couple of things that I think are going to be massive talking points. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. We'll get you all involved throughout the show, and we'll certainly get you more involved at the end of the show as well. But you've touched on a few things there that I really do want to talk about from tonight's game. And not only from tonight's game, we've got to talk about the draw for the semi-final. Of course, that's a massive talking point, so we'll bring that up at the end. But let's talk about that midfield tonight, Ryan, because I think that once again, we've seen how good that midfield three is together. It's the same midfield three that started against Rangers back at the start of when was that now? 2nd of February? Christ, so long ago. Mate. You know, the same midfield that started that night and absolutely tore them to shreds. They've done the same thing tonight, and I think it shows the importance of, we spoke about it in the podcast, what this little break could have done for the legs of guys like Rio Hatate. I think it showed what it's like when we have a rejuvenated and fully fit midfield three like that, right?
Yeah, it just shows you how much we needed that break, even just to go in the training ground. It was great hearing last week that the players sort of rejected days off because they want to be training. They want to be in and around the team, getting tactics in, getting some first team training in. And I think it showed. I think the first 10-15 minutes we looked maybe a wee bit rusty because we'd not played in a week. But once we got into the groove of things, once we got our first goal, then we started playing our game. I thought O'Reilly's first touch is just absolutely beautiful. I could watch it all day.
It's like it just comes to him first nature, doesn't it? Talk about first touch. It's a first touch with first nature. He just thinks it, and it just happens. He doesn't need to put much thinking behind it, really.
And I thought Calmac was probably the best player in the park tonight. You could say that for a lot of games this season, but he's so instrumental to everything good that we do. He starts everything. He finishes stuff as well, as you've seen with his first goal, or the first goal of the game rather. And it was just a captain's performance. The guy's grown from strength to strength in that captain's role, and I couldn't be happier for him.
There's a part of me deep down that, and I've got like one bar here, so I'm hoping to God that I'm not lagging for you, McGinley. I'm hoping it's going.
No, you're all right, mate.
No, good stuff. There's a part of me deep down that kind of just wants him to keep the mask on because he's been fantastic ever since he's put that mask on. I feel like, I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't fantastic before that because he's been consistently brilliant for Celtic over the course of the last 5-6 years, but I think with that mask on, he's just put it up another level, McGinley. I'd never want to lose it now.
He's the main attraction now. He's the Phantom of the Opera. With that Phantom of the Opera, Zorro, whatever you want to call him. I seen that the Celtic Twitter account were doing like Captain America references a couple of weeks ago when he scored his goal against St Mirren, was it? I'm trying to think. Aye, he scored against St Mirren as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
He could have scored a couple more as well. Obviously his game against Livingston, he missed the penalty and then the header. But I'm liking this more attacking style, even though he's playing as a number 6 today. He was showing how well he was doing going forward. I'm just delighted for him.
Yeah, let's talk about. We've spoke about really the first goal there. Let's talk about. I think Dundee United. It's a cup game, and it's different from a league game, of course, in the sense that Dundee United really didn't have much to lose once they went 1-0 down, especially when they went 2-0 down. They were a side that still brought the game to us. I thought Celtic had to kind of show another side of themselves tonight to try and deal with that. There was moments in the game where I think we showed a little bit of, I think there was Starfelt, he completely missed the ball at one point and it kind of went, and I don't want to start lambast. I don't want to lambast Starfelt because I'm a Starfelt lover, I absolutely adore him. But there was that moment, I think there was a moment with Joe Hart maybe as well. He tried to pass it out. There was a couple of moments where Dundee United pressured us, but throughout the course of the game, I thought we were good with dealing with it. I thought that we showed, a side to ourselves that we've not had to too many times this season, but we can when we need to.
No, it's good because we're such a flair team and we're used to just sort of rolling past teams or rolling over teams. Mm-hmm. It's good when the going gets tough that we can still get in and dig our heels in and just put in a good defensive performance. I thought apart from a couple of lackadaisical passes, Starfelt was great again.
Oh, I thought so as well. I thought it was really good.
How many times did Starfelt win the ball in the air? Or cleared the ball?
I was going to talk about when he won it in the air, but I was also impressed a couple of times from, I think it was a couple of opportunities Dundee United created from out wide. They sent the ball into the box and it wasn't high crosses, it was low crosses that were really dangerous, and Starfelt was the man there to clear them away. I think it happened maybe twice in the game and I noticed it.
The two of them really bail each other out though. I think every time one of them makes a mistake, it seems like the other one's there to sort of sweep up for them, which is absolutely brilliant. And they really, really do work well together, and that's come from playing 30, 40 games. I mean, we're on a 30-game unbeaten run just now, and they've probably started about 25, 26, 27 of them. So it just shows you how important that is to get game time and gel together, and they're a really formidable pairing now.
We still get, as you get Wazza Fortunes here on screen, for example, Starfelt isn't good enough. And it does still annoy me because I think he's shown clearly he's good enough, but I think there's a lot of people who are very easily drawn into the one or two sort of moments like that. And I understand how easy it is because you don't want those moments, but I think that he does so much more in the game to make up for these sort of...
his passing's phenomenal.
Yeah. I think he's. I think is it the first goal or no? It's not the first goal.
Second one. I think
second goal. It's fantastic pass, which leads to the goal.
Yeah, he's. Do you know? He gets such a hard time from certain fans. It's just enjoy him, man. Just enjoy Starfelt.
Just enjoy him.
Do you know he takes risks and sometimes they don't pay off, but he's playing the way that Ange Postecoglou wants him to play. Ange wants him to take risks on the ball. He would much rather him passing the ball on the ground and misplacing it than him just hoofing it up the park.
Yeah, I think not the way we play. I think a lot of people forget that with Ange Postecoglou, that he spoke so openly about how he wants his teams to play, and he spoke about the ambition in their play and the risks in their play. That
he's
things
fine
like this,
with him taking risks.
These things are going to happen under this manager. Like this isn't back in the early 2000s where you'd maybe, I'm not talking about Celtic specifically, but I'm talking about, a lot of football. In the early 2000s, you've seen a lot of teams hump the ball up the park, and before that as well, and hope for the best. It has kind of progressed a lot in the general game, but especially with this manager, it's something completely new, and I think a lot of people maybe are still trying to adapt to, because it's relatively fresh at Celtic. I know with Rodgers, we played it out from the back quite a lot, but I think with Ange especially, it's certainly more risky, whereas Rodgers was sort of like, okay, side to side, let's move ourselves out. But it's a lot more risky, it's a lot more ambitious from this side, I think.
Yeah, Ange would be angrier if he wasn't taking those risks and he was hoofing it up the park, as I said before. It's good that he is, and he doesn't seem deterred either. He keeps on going. You never see him with his head down after he's made a mistake, because he made that mistake, the ball went past him, and it could have been dangerous, but he keeps on going, and I thought he had a solid game for the rest of the game after that. But I think people have made their opinion up on Starfelt. I mean, I've made my opinion up on him. I love the guy on the opposite way. I'll always be banging that drum, but I think he's been, on the whole, very, very good.
Yeah, and I thought he was very good tonight. A lot of performances that we'll have to kind of cover tonight, because I'm seeing a lot of people, for example, bringing up the likes of Dyson Maeda, who I thought was good tonight. We've
Absolutely.
Karamoko Dembele, who I thought was really good as well when he came off. There's a lot of individual players that we'll need to try and touch on while trying to keep ourselves within a decent time limit. But let's talk about another first half incident. Let's talk about Rio Hatate. Should he or should he have not seen red, Ryan McGinley?
I was waiting for the red coming out, I'll be honest. See, when that happened, the way sometimes you can kind of tell with the way the commentary are starting to speak as well. You're thinking the red's coming here, the red's coming. I was so relieved that a yellow card came out, because I think in that sort of game, that would have totally given them the motivation to go and attack us.
It would have absolutely, I think, changed the course of maybe not changed the course of the game in terms of the final outcome. I still think we could have dug deep enough to see ourselves winning, but I think it could have really, because Dundee United did take a bit of there was I think a period when we went just after we went up 2-0, they went a good period of 10-15 minutes of having some really good opportunities and getting up the park quite a bit. You suddenly add that in with us having 10 men, it could have really changed up that game. I think that for me, the yellow was the right decision, but I'm surprised it wasn't a red, and I wouldn't even have been aggrieved if it was a red, because I must admit it was very, very. I think it is a yellow. I do think it is a yellow, but it's very reckless. He shouldn't have went in the way he did.
He's made his mind up about 5 seconds before he makes the tackle that he's going in for it, and he's not judged the situation well at all. I think it was a yellow, but I could see if John Beaton would have given a red, I wouldn't have been complaining that much. But I'm so glad that he gave a yellow. Do you know what? I'm just going to say it as a neutral as well. It would have ruined a good cup tie as well. You know how the neutrals always say, "Oh, a red card ruins games." It would have ruined a good cup tie. So
well, you never know. For some neutrals, they might have wanted to see Celtic,
but it was
knocked out, and it could have helped.
But it was very, very good management, and I'm happy to see that from Ange, that he took him off at half time.
Yeah,
because
that was very smart.
Although Rogic had a bit of a stinker when he came on.
Well, I mean, it is a controversial one. I'm seeing Liam put in the chat here, and I'm kind of I see where he's coming from as well. As I said, I think the yellow is the right decision, but genuine attempt for the ball and only really caught the lower portion of the back of his foot. I think that's where he's lucky. I think it's more luck than anything. I don't think that. I think that his foot has landed there out of sheer luck as any high, and it could have been a red card. It could if it looked more of a play on the player. Sorry, attack on the player. It's a really difficult one. As I said, I wouldn't have been aggrieved if it was a red. I think I would have understood it. But we managed to.
If it was against Hibs, Porteous would have been asking for a red card there.
Absolutely. I mean, if it was Porteous that done it, it would have been off in a flash as
well.
Absolutely,
reputation. Hatati's just such a nice wee boy, you know what I
mean? But I thought we played well to conclude the first half. I thought we looked strong, we looked decent. And it was just about going out there and reinforced it the second half. We done that. We got the second goal in the game, Ryan. What was your thoughts of the second goal?
Second goal. Let me think. I can't even remember the second goal.
I'm going to sit here and let you think of what the second goal was, Ryan. I'm not even going to tell you what was the second goal, Ryan.
I cannot honestly remember. It's been out of my head.
It was the first.
GG or Siegrist.
Yes. Siegrist. What was your opinion on that? World class.
One of those things. It puts to bed all the rumours of Siegrist going to Celtic, man. But it's so good from Giakoumakis. It's an average ball in from Maeda. Yes, he gets the ball in. You've got to give him credit for that. Giakoumakis bets that he's going to make a mistake. He makes that run, and he gets rewarded for that. He gets rewarded for taking a risk, for taking a gamble, and being in that position. I'm happy for him. I'm so happy we've got a striker that's just a poacher. We've had so many poachers that weren't poachers that just didn't score goals, like Bayo, Bangura, etc., etc. It's good that this guy actually scored goals as well. He's rough. Yeah. He's rough around. He's rough. He's what other words could you use to describe him? He's not a pretty footballer.
He's a bit unorthodox, isn't he? He's just a little bit sort of.
He thrives on chaos. That was.
Yeah, and I love him. Like he's quickly. And people who have been watching the channel throughout the season will know he's quickly became one of my favourite players in the team. I love him and I think he is just something we've not had since. Maybe it's, it reminds me of kind of like, and I really liked him, and maybe he was a better player. Well, he was a better player until this point. But Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink, for example. Big Jan Vennegoor, he was just in the right places at the right time. He got goals that were scrappy, but he could also score good goals as well, like Giakoumakis can. Like, we've seen that when he was in Holland. It kind of reminds me of that. It's just the presence that he brings to the team. But I like him, and look, the 2 goals he gets tonight, they're the scrappiest of goals that you will ever see from any striker ever. It's the scrappiest brace of all time, but it's goals that we missed out on last season. It was goals that we missed out on at the start of this season, how many times, Ryan, and this is no slander on Kyogo, I love him and I can't wait to have him back, but how many times this season have we had the likes of Kyogo in areas and situations where there was tap-in goals, there was easy ones to score, and he's put it over the bar and he's put it wide. I think having someone like Giakoumakis is the missing sort of element that we needed for that situation.
Yeah, he's a missing link. I think he's a very un-Ange player, but it seems to work.
It feels like it feels like everybody like managers always have a player like that. Like there's always somebody at their team that just isn't really the same mold as the other guys, but yet they'll come in and they'll do something.
But he gives you something different. He's a plan B. He's a missing link. For the Scottish League, yes, you need flair players like Kyogo and Maeda and etc. But you need somebody that's just a powerhouse. And granted, we've done well without him against Livingston, but that would have been a perfect game for him. It's so important that we've got a guy like that can just be a battering ram, that can be a focal point up front. And I'm absolutely delighted that he's got his 2 goals tonight. I mean, that's 9 goals from 9 first touches. That's not bad incredible for your second choice striker.
That is very rare. That must be really, really rare in terms of like how many strikers in the world will actually have a conversion like that, first touch goals.
And do you know what? His passing wasn't great tonight, and he had a couple of passes that went out of play and a couple of touches that didn't go his way. But do you know what? He kept on going on. His head never drops, and he got his rewards for 2 goals, and I'm delighted for him.
Yeah. It was a good way to round up the game. His goal right at the end, really good play from Karamoko. Of course, he'll be probably slightly aggrieved it doesn't go down as his goal. That's that light a touch on it, but it is what it is. And to Belly, I thought he was brilliant as well today when he came on.
That boy needs a contract. A contract. He's got something about him.
And I think that he's done a good job over now the couple of appearances off the bench and in the B team as well, where he done well the other week. He's done well in those appearances now, I think, to justify to the manager that he can have a place in this squad next season.
Yep, absolutely. I just think that needs to get resolved sooner rather than later, before maybe he puts in a good performance in an English team, sees that and puts in a bid for him. Because, I mean, or goes in and speak to him. They can go and speak to him now because he's out of contract in the summer. We need to get that sorted as soon as possible. He's shown that he can be an asset. I think he showed more in the 15 minutes he was on than Forrest did the whole game. I know Forrest got the assist for the first goal, but his wing play wasn't really up to it at all.
See, I to speak on Forrest very quickly, I thought Forrest was okay today, but what you said there is spot on. I think about his wing play. There was one situation in the game that stood out to me, like, and it's hard to explain. I need to find the exact clip from when it was, but it's like he's running forward with the ball, and then he turns, and then he starts running back with the ball, and it's just so against what I think that the phase of the play was showing in the rest of the team. I need to go and find it to show what I'm talking about exactly, because it's not something I think that would stand out to many. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's like he runs and then he just starts running back, but it's not like. It's just very, 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 very weird.
He's a squad player now. Let's be honest. I mean, we were all going a bit crazy after the Livingston game after he's finished, and he did have a good performance first and second half against Livingston. But I think he's more of a squad player now. It was good hearing that Ange was saying that Abad will be back for the weekend. It'll be so important to have him at Celtic Park with a big pitch to run on, and Jota too. I mean, when you look at it though, we've scored 3 goals without our 2 best wingers. That provides so much to this team. So I think that's pretty good going against a tough team in Dundee United away from home.
Yeah, and that's basically it. So I'll open the floor in a moment, Ryan, but let's kind of go through 3 things. I'll throw out the first one, then I'll let you throw in a couple. The first one I'm going to bring up for the start of the game. I think the break was really, really good for this team. I think we needed that. I think we learned that maybe we did need a little break in the play. I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed that we might have not been able to pick up on that Livingston result, but we did. We done it tonight after the break, and we done it with some really fresh legs. I thought everybody looked sort of raring to go tonight. There wasn't anyone that looked sluggish, I thought. And I think it was a big help to us. So that's the first thing. I brought that up earlier in the video. Is there anything in particular for you, Ryan, tonight on a second thing?
I'm trying to think.
I thought
both our fullbacks had a really good game as well. I thought Taylor and Juranovic were really good too. Especially Taylor. I thought Taylor there was a point where Stafford lost the ball, and I think Taylor was that the same one that he missed the ball.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
so.
Taylor won the foul. That's great. That's so great that Taylor's getting involved like that. And yes, he's had some ups and downs this season with his performances, but I thought it was a really good performance again tonight. Juranovic is just Juranovic. You just expect a 7 out of 10 performance from him.
Fantastic.
He's so
7 out of
rapid.
10, that's it. Give him more than that, son. Give him more than that.
I'll give him an 8 then. I'll give him an 8 out of 10.
Yes, beautiful. And yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the third thing as well, if I was to throw in a quick third thing that we've learned, is get Dembele the contract. I think that's plain and obvious. We both agree on that one.
He just commits players. He's a problem. And I think there's more and more to come from it. As long as we nurture him and get him as much game time as he can. It's good that he can still play for the B team as well, which means he's still getting minutes even when he's not playing games.
Sorry, on you go.
Yeah, I hope he signs a 2 or 3 year deal and we can properly see him and that he can realise his potential at Celtic. I'd love to hear that because it's obviously very disappointing about Ben Doak. Obviously, that news coming that it looks like he's going to Liverpool. But if we can keep Dembele out, the two of them, I don't think a lot of people would have been complaining at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm. A lot of buzz in the chat for the return of David Turnbull, who's due to be back in training this week, I believe. We are getting questions about Ben Doak, so we'll come on to that right at the end. But in general, before we move on to the next sort of topic, we've actually been going for 21 minutes. It feels a lot shorter than that, but we've done a good job, right? Before we move on to the sort of next topics surrounding this game, is there anything at all from tonight you feel like you've not given a chance or not given a fair enough spotlight, Ryan? I feel like I've said everything I need to say. I just love Georgios Giakoumakis and Joe Hart.
Maybe the one thing I would say is that Hatate looked more like himself, even though he was taken off at half time. Hatate was making wee movements that he wasn't making the past couple of weeks, or the past maybe half a month, you could say. I know half a month is 2 weeks. I'm getting tongue-tied, but it's good to see him back to his normal self. Beating players, like you know the way that he beats players, he just goes past them. And hopefully he can keep that going. Maybe get another start on Saturday, and shows what he can do because we know the ability's there. It's just his consistency.
Absolutely. Right, well, the next topic after the game, it was the draw for the semi-finals. And boy, oh boy, did we not, did we expect that? Did we not expect that? I must admit, Ryan, I said to everybody in what we were all talking about, what we're all surrounded to see what the draw was going to be, and I said I wanted Rangers, and we got Rangers. I don't know what you would have wanted, but what was your reaction to that draw, Mr. McGinley?
I've got to be honest, I thought we were going to get Hearts. There was something in my head that was saying we were going to get Hearts. Do you know, it's just another game, as Ange would say. It'll be a great occasion. Easter Sunday, probably, as well. That's going to be carnage in Glasgow, especially Easter
poetic.
Monday.
Very poetic. I know, bank holiday.
Kyogo, as I tweeted, Kyogo will resurrect himself on Easter Sunday. He'll come back for the Glasgow Celtic.
I think you'll find it's Vasilius Barkas who's due to rise on Easter Sunday, okay? Right? Can't wait to them.
Sorry for being disrespectful to the Greek god.
There's your man in the chat, by the way. Here he is. Boyce, I love him. Absolutely legend, Russell Boyce in the chat. Michael Stewart seemed to know the draw beforehand too. I couldn't really hear any of the coverage or see any of the coverage because we were in work when I was watching it. But listen, I wanted Rangers. I really did. I just a lot of people saying, I'd rather avoid them and, blah, blah. I'm like, well, listen, realistically, if it comes to playing them in the final, I'd rather lose to them in the semi than the final, I think. And to be the best, you've got to beat them. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best because we're the fucking best. But, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I don't mind. Look, listen, we've had a fantastic record at Hampden over the past few years. It's basically been a second home ground. As Bertie Auld would have put it back in the day as well. We win there so much. It feels like that. So, you know what? I'm going into that game incredibly confident, like we should be. I think the only negative that I can feel from this being the tie is the fact that we'll now have 3 games against Rangers before the end of the season. I could maybe see why people would have preferred a final in that sense, where you could have played Rangers twice, got the league over and done with, and then you play them in the cup. So now you've got to play them 3 times. It could do whatever to momentum or confidence or whatnot. But listen, Ange is a hero. He's got this team playing with a confidence that we've not seen in a while. So I'm confident for it, Ryan. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm just trying to think of what I was thinking there. I was totally distracted with something. You see that the game at Ibrox will be even more important now in terms of momentum, because whoever wins that, either a win or a draw, depends on the way the game goes. That'll go right into the semi-final as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden the momentum starts going. It's going to be a really, really interesting end to the season. It's good. It's good. These fixtures, you live for these fixtures at the end of the
I'm
day.
getting flashbacks to when we played them at Hampden. And we beat them.
2017, 20.
Was it we beat them like 4-0? Was that the one we beat them 4-0 and then we pumped them like the week after or the week before as well? I think that was
Either
that was a fantastic.
2017 or 2018.
It was a fantastic period of time. I mean, hopefully it's similar to that this time as well. You'd hope so.
I'm looking forward to it though. Should be a good occasion. I was going to say it's Gio's first time at Hampden, but it won't be because he was there when he shot out of taking the team against Hibs and Martin Boyle. You know the rest. So we'll see how that goes for him. But you know, you look at the two squads. We've got a better squad. We'll get players coming back from injury. Bring them on.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really am. Right, we'll give it about 5 minutes or so. We've got a fantastic amount of viewers at this time of night, by the way, because it's 20 to midnight, and we've got 460 viewers, which is fantastic for this time of night. So I thank you all very, very much. So we'll get me to celebrate you all being here. We'll go 5 or so minutes of some questions and answers. It can be in relation tonight to the semi-final, anything Celtic related. I know Adam was spamming a question about Brendan Doak. Brandon, is it Brendan or Brandon? I'm forgetting now.
Ben.
No, it's not. It's none. It's neither Brendan nor Brandon. It's Ben. You just prove me an absolute fucking dafty. I Ben Doak. That's it. Sorry. Don't know why I'm thinking of that. Thank you, Ryan. You've made me look a right twat. Let's see. So Joseph Coyle's asking what's happening to the allocation. You imagine it'll be a 50-50 split. With all your normal corporate nonsense and this, that, and the next thing, you'd imagine that's how it'll go. They're always so more difficult, though, I feel like, to get for these games, so you better hope you're in the first ballots or so, because
I know
it becomes tricky.
I've been very lucky with tickets over the past couple of years.
Same. I've been the only one out of it, so there's 3 of us that sit together, me, Kieran, Alden, David. And I'm the only one out of all 3 of us who's been drawn for every single game at Hampden since we all got season tickets. Because Kieran had to sneak into the treble final, and David couldn't get a ticket for the League Cup final we beat Rangers in. So I'm the only one so far that's got 100% perfect record.
The only game that I didn't go to was the Moussa Dembele Panenka one.
Oh yeah,
Is that the 4-0 one?
Yes, I believe it was.
The one that McCrory got absolutely violated by Dembele the whole game. I watched that in the telly. I still enjoyed it just as much because it was just utter domination. It was brilliant. But, I've been very, very lucky with semi-finals and finals at Hampden. I've got a really good experience of Hampden as well, especially when you consider the games that I went to beforehand. Like, obviously, we get beat by St Mirren, Kilmarnock. That was in like 2012, 2013. So recent history is really, really good at Hampden.
Yeah. Okay. Fun one quickly. Ryan, what time on Sunday is Total Wolf crying first? You don't need to wait till Sunday. It'll be greeting on Friday. Just you wait. Practice sessions. He'll be greeting his fucking head off. Let's see. Thoughts on the Gucci? I've seen a lot of people talking about the Gucci moustache tonight, McGinley. Were you a fan of the Gucci moustache?
Didn't see it long enough to form an opinion. Didn't see him long enough to form an opinion on him. Do you know, I think he's one that you'll see the best of him next season with a full pre-season, fully acclimatised to his new surroundings. I'm not too worried about him just now. If he does make a couple of appearances, then that's great, but I'll properly judge him next season, to be honest.
Right. Okay.
He was a bit of a... He was a wee bit of a... sort of a punt. The other two, you can see why we signed Maeda and Hatate, but it's sort of a punt with Gucci, and I've still got hope for him. And I think the couple of times that I have seen him, he's looked quite promising. But I'll properly judge him next season because I think the midfield's strong as it is without introducing him.
Going Yourself asks, Ryan, if you were to choose only one, and who would you play, striker, Maeda or GG? I'm a GG man personally, so I'd be saying GG.
It's a difficult one. Probably Gigi
That
as
is.
well, though. Gigi's a poacher. He gives us something different. If you were to ask me Gigi or Kyogo, it would be Kyogo all day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Maeda gives us that option as well. I mean, he's rapid on the left-hand side. I think he's getting more and more used to that left-hand side as well, which is good. He was really good tonight. I want to give him a quick shout out because I thought he was absolutely brilliant tonight. His pressing was absolutely phenomenal.
Adam asked summer transfer targets. Now, this is one of those ones that, we're not scouts, so there's not probably going to be names that we can start rhyming off the top of our heads. But I think that, you're going to hear the same things about left backs. I think that'll be one of the priorities. I think people will want to maybe see a winger or such, depending on Jota's situation. I think it's all just the obvious ones right now, Ryan, isn't it? Like Carter Vickers, Jota, that's really the two people we want to see through the door, isn't it?
Yeah, those two. We were obviously talking on the podcast. If you could pick one, why not have both? If we get the Champions League money, it'd be great to get them both signed and sealed, basically. Probably a left back as well. That's a left-sided Juranovic would be absolutely perfect in this team. That would be
fantastic, wouldn't it?
You just wish that Juranovic was a left back so that Ralston could play right back and be absolutely brilliant. I mean, we do that anyway, but Juranovic is so much better on the right-hand side. I mean, yeah, you just think about what could have been if we somehow could have got Aaron Hickey in the summer. Hickey and Juranovic would be absolutely incredible. But, now, he's probably outpriced him now.
Yeah. Mark's question, right? I just, before we get back to the football very quickly, he's asking my thoughts on Drive to Survive, but he said, do you know what I hate, Ryan, more than anything else in this world? You see when somebody goes like, no spoilers about something that's like happened. Like, Bohemian Rhapsody, mate, don't spoil it. I'm like, mate, it's Freddie Mercury, he dies. Like, it's just, you should know his name, but like, you should know what happens in Drive to Survive. Like, it happened back in December. However, I was a fan of it. It's a controversial show because they make up a lot of shite in it, but it is good fun. And it gets you into the sport if you don't really know anything about F1. Shane Gallagher was asking, how did Kieran sneak in asking for a mate? So funnily enough, you can't do what Kieran done anymore because this was back when the Hampden turnstiles were still man run or whatever. There was somebody behind there that ripped up your ticket. So Kieran literally went up with a score and went, can you let me in? And the guy let him in. Honestly, that's what he done. Just asking to come in, gave him a score, let him in. I don't know what you'd have to do now. You'd have to double up, but I'm not gonna come here and try and influence you to do that. Let's see any other questions, Celtic related questions. Let's see. God's sake, there's a lot of comments in here, Ryan. You think if we sign the two boys on loan, Vickers and Jota, you think the manager will stop there or add more for a serious European push?
I think he will sign more players. It'll be interesting to see with the situation with some of the players. Like McCarthy, will he stay past this season? Because of how well we've done this season, there'll obviously be interest in the players. So it's just one of those ones that we need to just watch and monitor the situation with regards to the squad. It's clear that we need a big squad to cope with the way that we're playing this season. So I'd quite like to see another couple of project players. You see Ange talking about like the Australian market, the Iranian market, the Japanese market. I'd like to see some more of these players as well because I definitely think there's untapped talent in these areas that Ange knows about. So, and I would trust this guy with my life, to be honest. So, I'd give him a free rein to bring in whoever he wants.
Yeah. And yeah, I think most of the questions have been answered. A couple of, just very quickly, Ryan, there's going to be another game against Rangers at Celtic Park. The B team will be playing Celtic.
I might need to go to that.
Sorry, Rangers. I think a lot of people, for everybody in the chat here right now, it's a big opportunity to get yourselves along to what could be a very exciting game and a glimpse into the derbies of the future. There is going to be a derby played at Celtic Park between the B teams. I would encourage everybody to get a ticket for that. I think I'm going to try and get the night off. I might be working because it is a Tuesday night, but it's something to do Tuesday night. And I think by all accounts, Ryan, the B team this season have been very impressive. So it could be a very entertaining one at the big stage of Parkers.
Yeah, absolutely. A wee glimpse into the future. I think Bosu and Lawal's worth the entry fee alone. Just watching this guy. This guy is going to be in the first team. I'm so certain that maybe in the next year or so he'll be getting chances in the first team. He's an absolute man mountain. He gives me Wanyama vibes on the ball, even though he's a centre half. He's quite imposing. He's a good passer of the ball. He comes out with the ball. There's so many good talents in there, and maybe some of the first team players will play in that game too. Like, you might see Dembele playing in that, so a chance to see Dembele is a chance not to be missed. You get guys like Summers, you've got Joey Dawson. I'm trying to think of other players. Rocco Vata, who's a massive, massive talent. Keep an eye out on him. But there's loads and loads of reasons, and simply due to the fact it's a Celtic Rangers game, and it's a chance. A Celtic Rangers game for a tenner. You can't argue with that.
Tenner's a fantastic pricing as well. I think, there's a chance as well to get yourself some free tickets for the Celtic versus, is it Hibs women's game at Celtic Park as well. And I think the club are very, very keen to try and break the record for the highest women's game attendance in Scotland, which I think right now is, 11,000 between Hearts and Hibs a little while ago.
Hearts and Hibs, I remember that in radio a couple of months ago.
So I think it's a massive chance to try and break that record. So it's a free ticket. I mean, it's a free ticket, and once again, the women's team have been absolutely fantastic over the past year or so under the management of Fran Alonso. He's been a fantastic manager for that side, and it's a free ticket, a free game of football. I mean, you can't really complain, can you?
Can whack it?
So yeah, a couple of big opportunities. But yeah, I think that about does it. I think that'll do us for tonight's live stream. It's been a very good turnout for this time on a Tuesday night, so I'll let everybody get to their beds and get ready for work or uni or school or whatever tomorrow. McGinley, thank you very much for joining me this evening.
No bother at all. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk about Celtic. Any excuse to talk about Celtic, I'm quite happy. So, yes. And fingers crossed, we just go from strength to strength. Looking forward to Saturday, back at Celtic Park, buzzing for that.
Well, not for me personally. I'll be in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin.
You're watching Felix Magath's first game, former... Did he not have shares in Rangers? Did he have
Felix shares Magath? In Rangers? Is it Felix Magath? Aye, Christ, I missed that.
He's and Mark Fotheringham is a coach who used to play for Celtic.
That's right.
He's now coaching Hertha Berlin, so that'll be an interesting one.
Aye, I'll be there.
Who are they playing? Sorry, it's Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim. I'll be there cheering on.
They're fifth in the league, so that'll be a good game.
Yep. Very good weekend there, actually, just passing German football, so I'm excited. But aye, that's us. That'll do us. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in this evening. I look forward to seeing you next time. And from me and Ryan McGinley, cheerio.